everybody. Welcome to Wellness Wednesdays. I'm Melissa Niles at Capital Recovery Center. And today I have our very first guest, because this is our first episode. It's my personal friend and also a jack of all trades, very versatile human being here, Tony Mascara. And today Tony's going to talk to us about drumming. Tony is an amazing musician. So Tony, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey everybody, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. I feel honored to be the first guest.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. I was born a drummer. Or I was a drummer before I was born, I think. If you can ask my mother, she'll tell you. But I came out beating on pots and pans. First Christmas, all the presents, and I went straight for the kitchen. So it was really, it was an interesting. They wanted me to play another instrument. I took piano, but luckily, they let me have a drum set and were very supportive about playing. And then I played the drum set, and that's with all the drums around you, and I wanted to know where they all came from. So I started studying the drum set and how it kind of evolved and how it came to be. And then I started collecting and studying these drums because...
And how old were you when you had the interest of where they come from?
Oh, that was probably in my teenage years.
Even back then?
Yeah, and into my 20s. And then, I found out that they're from all around the world, and they were used for different things than just playing drums. It wasn't always used for music. So I got the interest in playing in a world band. We were playing music from around the world for children, and then I got approached by an agency in Philadelphia to do a drum circle, like an interactive world drum workshop. So I studied and and I teach people where these drums came from, what their purpose was, which is communication, in case you were wondering. We use drums to communicate even up until this day, up until modern days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I love it. I teach drum set, I teach, drum workshops and drum circles and stuff.
So here's a fun fact. One thing, because Tony and I go way back, right? And one thing I remember one of your favorite drummers. I don't remember his actual name, but it was a drummer from Rush.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's his name?
Neil Peart.
May he rest in peace, right?
Yes, he died last year. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
And Tony's, as long as I can remember, he's always been musical, and his family is also musical. And so I'm a person in long-term recovery, which for me means I haven't had a drink or a drug since September 30th, 2002. Since then, my life's gotten a whole lot better. I'm able to be a functioning member of society. My parents are no longer pacing the floor. They can sleep at night, So I'm a mother, daughter, friend. I'm an employee. One of the things that we want to do with the Wellness Wednesday podcast is to provide everyone with different tools for your wellness toolbox to help you find other ways to enjoy your life and find purpose and meaning, because for me, part of recovery is being connected and being in my purpose, because one of the most devastating things, and I can still feel it way in my gut at the end of my road using the feeling lost and feeling disconnected, not even feeling like a part of life, just like watching everybody else's life go by, watching the kids get on the school bus, watching the woman going out for exercising in the morning, and I'm still out there, and I'm just like an observer. So addiction causes us to be disconnected. But recovery is the exact opposite, which is all about connecting, right? And then when you talk about, I love that you said drumming is for communication. So how can drumming benefit someone who is seeking recovery, or somebody who's trying to maintain recovery, or just people in general?
I think a lot of the work I do are in groups and group settings, whether it be kids or adults, or I've done things in actual rehabs and work there. It really brings a sense of community, because it's a big conversation. And it's scientifically proven that it activates delta waves in the brain, which calms you down. It's a very grounding experience. And you don't have to be like a skillful person to play. That's the whole joke. Who's the person who hangs around musicians? The drummer, right? But it doesn't take much to make rhythm, and it doesn't take much. It doesn't. You don't have to tune up a guitar.
Really?
It doesn't. No.
Okay.
So there's been many times in many different drum circles that I have experienced somebody. I'm not musical. I can barely play the radio, and within 10 minutes in the drum circle, they're playing. They're actively engaged. There was a really funny story that I just. There was somebody who was brand new to treatment, and I was doing a drum circle, and this guy literally got discharged from a detox center, probably 60 years old. He walked in the room and he told me this story 3 times. He said, I'll never forget it. He goes, I'm in there, all my housemates they're just like this. And everybody's playing something, and it looks like everybody was in a trance. And then he walked over to the drum set, because there was a drum set in the room, and he hadn't played in like 40 years.
40?
40 years.
Wow.
Like it would have been 40. So he just kind of, it opened up a whole, gate for him. He didn't understand what was going on, but it does take you to a different place.
Absolutely, and that's a great story. Thank you for sharing that. And that also reminds me, because people who have substance use disorders or addiction problems, compulsive behaviors, it's very progressive and insidious. Insidious meaning it's so slow, progressive, and gradual that it's well established before it ever becomes apparent. Like,
Yep.
And then don't even know I have a problem until it's like, ooh, like it's got a hold of me, right? So we don't even realize that we start trading things in, and he probably may not have even. I'm getting goosebumps. 40 years that he hadn't picked up a pair of drumsticks to.
And he killed it. I mean, because it created an atmosphere that's totally uninhibited. People get up and dance, and the level of communication's it's a much higher level of communication when you're talking about music.
Is there anything else you want to share about how music can be beneficial for people in recovery?
Yeah, I mean, look, music, if you're a listener, if you're a performer, I tell everybody, because I'm in recovery as well, and I tell every person that asks me to be a sponsor to them in the 12-step programs, like, what are your hobbies, what are your passions? Because if you don't find something to occupy your time, and like you mentioned, it's like we're lost. We don't have much of a will to live at that point. All the things that made us happy or we're passionate about, we don't care about anymore.
That's right. So
rekindling those relationships with, music, whether it's listening or I have this guitar, or I have this, just get involved with that. Because it really brings that, that sense of purpose.
Okay.
If you follow your passion.
Yes.
Because that's all I've done my whole life.
Okay.
From pots and pans to right here in front of the camera.
Hey, this served you well, right?
Yeah,
Following
absolutely.
your passion.
It's been good to me. Yes, absolutely.
And you've helped many people through just being you.
I try.
I love it.
I guess so.
Yeah, I love it.
One of the things I did chasing passions, getting involved with music again. I went to music school for a couple years. Got a job at a studio, and I've been taking stuff apart, and I'm very interested in the mechanics of what makes things work. It's just in my nature. My grandpa was a television repairman. He went to Temple to do that in the 50s and 60s, and he kind of, got me into electronics. So recording was a natural progression, and looking at tubes and pulling things apart and not trying to blow things up, which I did really well. But that kind of led me into the studio, and it was a natural habitat. So I opened up, a little over 20 years ago now, I opened up the Audio Lab, and I pretty much just, produce and record local bands mostly, and, some of my own stuff or bands I'm playing with.
So if somebody would like to use your studio or get more information, or if somebody has an agency, or if they're going to have a party, if they're doing team building or anything, and they want somebody to come and do a drum circle or something like that, how would they contact you?
Usually my phone number or my email address, which is tony@theaudiolab.net. That's probably the easiest way to get in touch with me.
Okay, tony@theaudiolab.net.
Yep.
All right, thanks. So next we're going to demonstrate some drumming.
I brought some goodies.
Yeah.